Welcome to the Press Box, your number one total sports platform. I'm your host, C. Will, and today we have a terrific show planned for you guys. We're going to talk back about the Hogs and their big game coming up against the Texas A&M Aggies in the Southwest Classic Showdown that's going to be played in Jerry's World in Arlington, Texas on Saturday. Start time is set for 11 o'clock a.m. So, I've actually had the opportunity to kind of look at both teams. I took a look at the personnel. I took a look at the production, uh, numbers, stats. I looked at the matchups, and I must say that I don't like this matchup. I don't like this matchup. I'm not saying that we can't beat them, but it's definitely a tough matchup on paper at least. But you still have to play the game, and being good on paper or not good on paper really doesn't mean anything once the game starts. So it's just the paper talk. But I saw some things that were, um, that stood out a little bit to me as far as how both of these teams stack up. Texas A&M being 3-1 on the season, only loss coming to the Miami Hurricanes in week 2, and they took a pretty good loss, road loss. So um, they definitely can be beat, but Miami is a good team this year. So um, I'm not going to disrespect Texas A&M for that loss, especially with it being on the road in a revenge game against a team that you played the year before, and it was a dogfight as well. So definitely a respectable loss. Um, Arkansas, this is going to be a good test. I think that it's going to be a test for the simple fact, um, in my opinion, this will be the best collection of linemen offensively that Arkansas's defensive front has seen, and this will be the best defensive linemen and linebackers that our offense has seen this year. So that's why I say I don't really like this matchup. But everybody knows that Texas A&M, did really well with recruiting a couple years ago. So they have a lot of talent. They have a lot of great players. Last year, they didn't have the season that they would have hoped for, but the talent is there. I mean, they're loaded with a lot of, you know, unique talent. And, this year so far, they're looking pretty good. I'm not going to take nothing away from them. Um, and the Hogs have not looked that good in terms of in the offensive line. The offensive line play uh, has been mediocre at best. They showed a couple of flashes of dominance here and there, but it's not what we're used to. So um, I just worry that this matchup is gonna, uh, you know, last week we actually were able to, you know, hold our own against the defensive front of LSU. LSU's defensive front is not as stout as you think. LSU is more of a offensive team, and you know they're only they're ranked 66 in defense, total defense, and they rank number 7 in total offense. So they're more offensive heavy than they are defense. So that's why when I look at BYU, they don't compare to the front 7 that A&M is going to have out there. And you know that Kent State and Western Carolina don't compare. So this defensive front will be the toughest defensive front that we'll see all year, as in the Razorbacks. We'll see all year until we play Alabama. And Alabama's front, and their offensive line will be the best that we've seen. But after we play Alabama, then it kind of goes, it gets better. I think that part of the reason why a lot of people had us losing to Texas A&M, before the season even started, and people had us losing to Alabama before the season even started because they knew that those teams are better than we are on the lines. And we can talk about quarterback, we can talk about running back, we can talk about receivers, we can talk about all the skill players, linebackers, cornerbacks. We can talk about all the skill players, the sexy players, as I like to call them, the players that everybody know. But if their lines are not dominating, then nothing is going to happen. And that's the beauty about football. You know, the uh, the guys that run and get all the touchdowns with speed, they get all the glory. But the people who's making the holes and making the blocks and fighting through the blocks are the reason why those guys perform. Um, I love the Hogs skill players this year. I love the receivers, big receivers, good size. Um, KJ Jefferson is a veteran stud. Um, Running backs are good. So skill players is great, but you can't have anything without those guys up front making holes for you. So just to look at how Texas A&M and Arkansas match up, A&M is 30 in total offense. Arkansas is 76 in total offense, and A&M is 14th in total defense, and Arkansas is 41 in total defense. So just on the surface, on paper, it appears that A&M is better on offense and defense, at least statistically right now. But we know that we don't have Rocket Sanders. And Sam Pittman said that he's slowly starting to add more reps. He said he couldn't say for sure would he be playing, which if he plays, I don't see him being what he can be, especially being on this long. But just the fact that he's coming back um, is a great thing, and we know eventually he's subject to break out and become his old self. So, um, what else I noticed? Both teams are good in the red zone. Whenever the Hogs get there, they're 14th in the nation in red zone execution. Texas A&M is 10. Both teams not great in red zone defense. So if both teams get down there, both of these teams are not great at stopping you inside the red zone. Uh, Texas A&M running game is 72nd in rushing out of 133 in the nation. So that's about a little over halfway, or about halfway, I should say. And the Hogs are 75th. But the difference is that Texas A&M is running and averaging about 4.8 yards per carry, whereas the Hogs are running more but only averaging 3.8 yards a carry. So even though they are 72nd and Hogs are 75 in total rushing yards, but Arkansas is running more for less yards per carry, and Texas A&M is running less for more yards per carry. So I would give the advantage to A&M because they're getting more yards per carry than we are. But we know that our line has potential, and we're waiting for them to break out to get to that point. But this is a tough matchup for them, and it'll be interesting to see if they'll be able to snap out of the funk that they've been in against this tough, stout defensive front. And both teams' run defenses are in the top 40. The Hogs' run defense is actually 21st. So we've been pretty decent in the trenches in terms of giving up like rushing yards. We gave up quite a few last week though, and a lot of that, our numbers, are adding up that we played against two inferior teams. So we'll see probably after this game where we really are with these numbers defensively. And Texas A&M is 18th in passing, and Arkansas is 70th in passing. So that's a significant advantage in the passing game. Um, but the biggest telltale fact is sacks allowed, the offensive line play. Arkansas is 104th out of 133 in sacks allowed. Arkansas has given up 11 sacks in 4 games. Now, we've gotten 14 sacks through 4 games defensively, so we are a +3 with that. But 11 sacks is too much, especially when Texas A&M has only given up, I think it was 6 sacks, I believe. No, 4 sacks. 4 sacks. They've given up 4 sacks on the season, but they've gotten 11. So they are a +7. Okay, so +7, +3, but their offensive line is only giving up 4. And they played against Miami and they played against Auburn. Now, Auburn is not great offensively, but they have a solid defensive front. And they did pretty good against Auburn. And they played against Miami, which they lost that game. So that's 2 offensive lines that they played that, well, there's 2 defensive fronts that Texas A&M's offensive line has saw that are pretty good. Just like our front on paper is pretty good. So I think we'll be more starstruck a little bit because this is the best front that we've seen. They've seen, as good as we are defensively, A&M has seen 2 teams that probably is either on par with us or maybe better with our defensive line and linebackers. So uh, that's a that's a significant thing because my question is how are we going to respond to getting punched in the mouth and not really being able to do anything about it because Texas A&M is more physical on both sides of the balls than we have been. So what are we going to do when we get hit in the mouth? This is a game where we're going to have to show resiliency. Like we're going to have to fight. We're going to have to get down and come back, you know. And more importantly, the defense coordinator, Travis Williams. I like Travis Williams. I do. I think he has a bright future. I think he's been a great hire so far for the University of Arkansas. He's known for exotic blitz packages, and but so far he really hasn't shown too much, which is a good thing because you don't want teams to know your looks. So this is what has got to happen, and I'm telling you the truth. This is what it is. This is the key for us to neutralize the significant advantage that A&M has on us on with the offensive line. We have to unleash some exotic blitz packages that nobody has seen. Maybe that's why, like in the game of spades, when you play spades, you don't play all of your spades initially. You keep your spades with you and you wait until it's the right time to use them. And I think that Travis Williams is known for having exotic blitz packages. Now is the time to show it because I don't think that we're going to be able to win the battle of the trenches without doing something to disrupt what Texas A&M is doing. They're number 18 in passing. They average 4.8 yards a carry. They got big, fast receivers. They always have good running backs. They got Max Johnson at quarterback, who's played since forever. He was a stud at LSU. You know, last year he played, so he's another experienced guy like KJ Jefferson, big guy that can run and he can throw. Very, very accurate and efficient. So when you got a team like that that's proficient at running as well as passing, and you can't beat them in the trenches, you're not going to be able to play a base defense and hope to stop them because they're too physically imposing. So the only thing that we can do, and it may work, I think it can work. If I was, making the shots, I would be bringing a lot of pressure, a lot of disguised pressure, looks that they haven't seen. Now they're looking at Arkansas on tape. They haven't, they the blitzes that I expect for them to come with, A&M probably haven't saw. So that it probably will work. So I expect for Travis Williams to earn his money. And I think with his creativity, defensive knowledge, you know, competitiveness, I think that the defense will have a trick up their sleeve. The line is only 6.5. Now I haven't made a play on that yet. I'm still watching to see if the line is gonna move, but I'm just breaking it down from what I see on paper, and I believe that Texas A&M is probably, from the standpoint of all around, is a better team than LSU. I think that Texas A&M has a better defense than LSU. I think that both teams' offense may be on par of the same, but I think the Texas A&M offensive line is better than LSU's offensive line by a little bit. That's just what I think. So I think that this is the toughest team that the Hogs have faced so far. And if we combine the history of this Southwest Classic matchup, the Hogs have lost 10 out of the last 11. We did win 2 years ago, but we also gave the game away last year. Luck has not been on the Razorback side in this matchup. I just wish that we can somehow, even though it's great playing in Jerry's World, playing at that NFL stadium, that luxury palace, but I just think it'd be better if we can have a home game. We don't have any luck playing in Arlington, even though even though you would think that the rivalry should mean more to us because we can't beat them as of late. But I never feel good about playing this game. But the 1 year that Sam Pittman had here that was great, he won this game. Now I don't think Texas A&M is a world beater, because every game that we play against them in this classic, it comes down to one possession or less. So it's going to be a close game. But the question is can the Hogs not make penalties to beat themselves? Can they execute in the red zone? When they get down there, can they punch it in? See, these are the things that they've struggled with. And as of late, the last two games, turnovers. We have lost the turnover battle 4-2. So we are a -2 over the last two games that we lost. But Texas A&M is I think they are a 0 on the season. They committed to and they forced to. So they really don't commit many or they haven't commit many turnovers. And they really don't force a lot of turnovers. But they made one last week. So, they are the physical team. They are going to control the line of scrimmage. They probably are going to control the line of the time of possession. But turnovers is the ultimate neutralizer when you're playing against a team that's dominant up front. We are a team, I believe we are a +4 in turnovers this year. We've been forcing turnovers. Just lately, we've been making them too. But every game, we force a turnover. So, and with other games, we force more than one. So, I'm not counting us out because they're more physical. I just feel like that we got to figure out a way to disrupt what they're doing. And I feel like that we have the right guy in Travis Williams. And I'm anxious to see what he's going to do against Texas A&M. Because just like they've added Bobby Petrino to help kind of clean up their offense, because their offense was kind of like not fluid with Jimbo Fisher calling the plays. It's like our defense wasn't fluid, and we got a defensive guy in. So we'll see if both teams are able to adjust to the slight adjustments made by both teams by adding Coach Bobby Petrino, who's a former Razorback coach, and adding Coach Travis Williams to call the defense. So this is a big game for both teams. I think Texas A&M has aspirations on winning the West, just like LSU did. and they're going to come in. They're going to play hard. They're going to fight. This is a desperation game for us. We've lost 2 in a row. We need the game. So we got to just go in, remain confident. I mean, I think that we played a good enough game last week to feel good about ourselves. But stay in the fight because we're going to get punched in the mouth. If we stay in the fight, being able to disrupt their offense, perhaps force a turnover or two, we may walk out of Jerry's world with a victory. So if you like this video, Hog fans, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe to the Press Box with Cee Will for all your Razorback content as well as all sports content. We got the NBA getting ready to start momentarily. I'll be covering the NBA. We'll have Razorback basketball coming up momentarily. I'll be covering Razorback basketball. This is the Total Sports Network. And again, if you like this content, go ahead and give me a like and a thumbs up. So thank you guys for watching my podcast today. And hopefully it was helpful to the people who do follow the Razorbacks and the Aggies. So again, my name is Cee Will, saying so long from the Press Box. Take care.